As a scientist, I can tell you that Sundays are only 24 hours long. But with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get every game every Sunday all in one place. That's upwards of 30 hours of NFL in one day. How can there be 30 hours in 24 hours, you ask? I have a theory. Magic. New users get NFL Sunday Ticket for 8 payments of $34.50 per month. Sign up at NFLSundayTicket.com. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games and commercial use. Terms and embargoes apply. Availability varies.
Vitamin Water Zero Sugar has great taste, zero BS, and obviously zero sugar. For those with zero room in their calendar. Zero patience for slow walkers. Those who get 0 hours of sleep on a Saturday night. Have zero filter, zero given, and zero interest in grabbing a plain, boring water. Grab a delicious Vitamin Water Zero Sugar today.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
Hello everyone and welcome to Howie the Podcast. It's Gav and I'm actually stood next to the Bob Stokoe statue today as we're at the Stadium of Life for something a little bit special because today they are revealing the Jimmy Montgomery Stand lettering above the West Stand, which is now the Jimmy Montgomery Stand, to Jimmy himself, who's actually going to be coming to the stadium, and this will be a bit of a surprise for him. So club have invited us down to have a look around the new Concourse Bowl and all the different bits and pieces that they've done ahead of the new season. And I'm with Craig, who's also been with me today to have a little bit of a look around. Hello, mate.
Yes, hello. Good afternoon. Honour to be invited by the club down to basically see the mountain of changes over the summer. And whilst I don't think we can stress enough that it is an ongoing building site at the minute, the changes are really, really superb. Yeah, I think obviously a lot of the images have already leaked in terms of some of the concourse photos, but by God, you know, it looked tired, didn't it? The whole match day experience, you'd come in and it was drab, but now it is so colourful. They've got murals all over, and it's feels very, very inviting, and it's befitting really of a Premier League football club. And you know, you can only give credit to those behind it all who are doing their very best to make sure that we're ready for the season ahead.
Yeah, I think you've seen the photos online. They don't do it justice, to be honest. I think when people come into the ground on Saturday and actually come in for the West Ham game, because you know a lot of the ground won't be open to fans until the West Ham game. What a difference! I mean, even just the lick of paint around the place, the red paint everywhere, you know, like you said, the murals, the new signage above the bars, the sort of the flags, the banners which are hanging above just from the ceiling and stuff, with all the different motifs and slogans and stuff which we associate with the football club. I mean, it's going to look completely different for people, isn't it, when they walk in here? And I just think I'm excited for people to say. I mean, we've said on the podcast before, you know, people are going to come here having not been here for 8 years, and they're going to be like, what the f***'s happening? It's just totally different. Like, not just the stadium, but the city centre and all the rest of it, you know, a completely different place that a lot of these people won't have seen. But even when you walk inside the ground, it's just, yeah, I'm seriously impressed. I mean, we've been here today. It is still like a building site, and there's still loads to be done. And I don't think the majority of it will be done for the friendly at the weekend. But still, though, it was really, really impressive, wasn't it? And I mean, those murals, just for a word for them, they've been well done, haven't they?
Yeah. Again, I think you are kind of lost for words, because just even the attention to detail it's second to none. And I mean, I'll not spoil about who is on the walls. I think everybody can probably guess who is exactly on the walls, but you know, you'll all get your chance to see that in the coming weeks. But I think obviously you've mentioned there about the regeneration of the place. It's going hand in hand with the city. And I think obviously when people from afar, especially opposition fans who haven't been here for that length of time, they are going to walk around. It'll just feel like a completely different place. But listen, like I say, obviously there's a lot of work to still go. So I would say please don't be disheartened if it is the case the changes aren't even done by the West Ham game, because this place has been left to ruin for a long, long time. And there is so much improvement that has needed to be done in such a short space of time as well. But listen, like I say, I think they've got everything at the heart of what they're doing. And yeah, like I say, it's certainly going to be a showcase, isn't it, for that West Ham game?
Yeah, just on the unveiling of Jimmy's the wording above the stand as well. He didn't have a clue, did he? He was here actually to take part in the reveal of I think it's the Panel 8 bricks, which have been moved from where the now new ticket office is over to by the main entrance. So he was here as part of that, just to greet the families and stuff who've came to see the bricks after being moved. And they brought him into the ground down the stairs with his wife, and he didn't have a clue it was happening, and was kind of told to turn around, and he looked up. And I mean, I've caught it all on video. I will put it on our social media, just for people to see and stuff. But he was genuinely chuffed when he absolutely taken back. And who can blame him? Imagine being him.
I mean, yeah, he's probably the greatest ever player we've ever had associated with this football club, the most important person we've ever had associated. And look, played for Sunderland long before our time. And conscious of the banging in the background for the listeners, we are stood outside the building site. Work is ongoing. But no, listen, I mean, he's such a humble man, and if you can think of anybody more deserving than him, then I mean, good luck. But such a great man to have associated with the club, and it takes you back to obviously when it first got announced, when he came out onto the pitch for the Coventry City game, and it set the tone for the evening. I think him coming out and basically geeing us all up, and just to see him come down those stairs and, like I say, take it all in. Such a lovely man, such a historic moment, obviously, that we all associate him with a save at Wembley. But beyond that, everything that he has done and continues to do for our football club, I mean, we'll just love him.
Yeah,
we love him.
Yeah. So we got the chance to talk to Jimmy. You'll hear that in a few minutes or so when we get to it. But we were as part of the huddle of people who got asked questions. Nick Barnes was there, Stephen Goldsmith from Wise Men Say, and Love Supreme were there too. So there is a little segment there with Jimmy just answering some questions about his feelings on it all. And we did get to spend a little bit of time with Rob Mason too, the club historian, who, as you all know, he's like a firecracker. Once you set Rob off, he's away. And he had lots to say about Jimmy, and it was a fantastic little chat I had with him about that. So that's all coming up. So enjoy.
You knew the stand had been named after you. How does it feel now, though, to actually come here and see your name, big red letters at the top of the stand?
Mind-boggling is a word. To come out and see it actually, and realise it's been done now. I mean, we knew what was happening, what was going on, everything else, but to actually go out there onto the pitch and see it, it's just mind-boggling. It really is outstanding. And, I'm just saying, from a young lad who came down here in 59, I believe it was, 16-year-old, on the ground staff, just from up the road there in Southwick. I used to walk down and sometimes come down with my bike to training. And now you look at an 82-year-old now, and there's a stand named after me, and the first stand that's ever been named from a Sunderland Football Club's point of view. And, I'm indebted to the chairman, the owner, Kirill, and everybody who was concerned, with the naming of the stand. Many people must have been involved. And by goodness, I appreciate that.
Slightly delicate, because normally when stands are named after, you know what I'm going to say.
I know what you're going to say, yeah.
So that's equally a big honour, isn't it?
It's a fabulous honour, yeah, to realise I'm still standing here. I can actually see it, and and like sort of when they put the Bob statues up, Bob wasn't with us, and that in itself is phenomenal. And it's something unusual. But I'm delighted, but, I've got my grandson, my grandchildren, my children, my wife, who can come here and see it. And when I'm long gone, it'll still be there.
And the stars are aligned because, of course, promotion, and it's.
I mean, when I found out about it, it was a perfect night, wasn't it? The Coventry City game, and I was just thankful I had the walk from the tunnel up to where Kirill was to think about things. Otherwise, I would never get through it. But like I said, it was just when I heard about it. But now it's actually there, up, and it's just something different.
I mean, you mentioned your family. I think they are, just talk to your wife and she's absolutely thrilled. I mean, I think, the pride in having your name, the family name on the...
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like I said, they can come down, they can see whenever they want, and, it's, and like you pointed out, I'm still here and I'm still here to see it, which is one of the nicest things. But, the club have been absolutely fantastic. This is my club. It's been many, many years here. And like I said, from 16-year-old to leaving the club when I was about 33, I think I was, I could have stayed. Would have been nice to stay another 3 or 4 years, but it wasn't to be. And I've been out and I've been in, I've been out and I've been in. But, when the club calls you to come back, you come back. You always come back. Or I always do anyway. And it's just a fabulous club, and to come back, these fabulous supporters as well in 2 weeks' time.
And what are your thoughts on the season? What are your initial impressions of the players they brought in?
Well, the players they brought in, I think they've done brilliantly. When we first got promoted, the first thing we talked about is, are we going to generate the money to get the players in? And I think with the signings he's made, I don't go on pre-season friendlies and all that. I've been through too many. So I don't take them into consideration, really. But the signings we made, I think, are superb. I think we'll make 1 or 2 before the season starts again in 2 weeks' time. So, we're going to have an excellent squad to work from. And squad being the operative word, you need a big squad in the Premiership. And we're getting there, and I think the chairman and everybody associated with getting people in have done a magnificent job.
Normally in football, after a game, the manager comes out and maybe 1 or 2 of us interview the manager. There's about 8 people here wanting to interview you, so open the floor to everybody else.
Exactly.
I just want to say, Jimmy, I know something we've spoke about before, but obviously, when the club first moved into this ground, it was a new badge, it was a new start, it was a new era. And the relationship with the old players in some previous regimes was not initially the best. So it's good that they've really ramped up acknowledgement of history.
They've ramped it up massively. Over the last few years, really, since the new chairman and the rest of the people have come in, the former players have come more involved. They've gotten them more involved. And I think that's what Sunderland Football Club has been really about. They don't forget the old players at all, and, we get looked after in, I think they get about 17 pair or 15 pair of tickets, which as former players can put the names forward to get for each game. God knows what will happen when Newcastle and Man United and Man City game, because they'll want all them tickets or want to be taken. So then we'll have to restrict it to, instead of a player and a guest, just have to restrict to a player. But no, the club have done absolutely brilliantly for the former players. And, they've given back to what the players themselves have given to this football.
And it's always just a better club when they're in the top flight, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, we haven't been there for, 8 years? And I think that's the longest we've been out the top flight. Yes. So hopefully we'll start off. I think personally we've got a good start with the West Hams and Brentford and people like that and Burnley's. They're winnable games. They really are. And I think I don't think enough has been said about what the manager's done. The manager last year was absolutely superb. And, we all doubted about when we lost 500 shot coming up to the vital games. But he knew what he was doing, and, we had, and same this year, he'll have his, the team set out for whichever team we play. He'll have his, whatever system he wants to play, but he'll know that's what system we need for that particular game. And that's what I love about him and his team.
Looks like we're signing a new goalkeeper, Robin Roofs. You got any advice for him?
Just come here and enjoy it. And hopefully, if you get in, keep your place.
Yeah, it's a big club, isn't it? So he's going to become with lots of expectation.
Yeah, there's, whoever comes to this club, Zach is going to come to this club. He's a big player himself. But the expectations of coming here will be great. You know what the fan base is like. They'll expect 100%. And I think I've got a bet on with me grandson how many games it takes him to get sent off. But anyway, but that's the type of players you need as well. You need somebody who can get your colleagues going and get them going. Luke and Ian did it in a different type of way, really. He likes slapping people and he liked jumping on people, and that was the funny side of it. But I think one or two players are getting in can do the physical side as well.
It's a tough league, though, isn't it?
It's make no mistake about it, it's going to be a hard league. And I know for how many years is it now? 2, 3 years that three's gone down. But we'll make it. We'll change it this year. Definitely change it this year. Yeah, it's what he puts on that pitch, the enthusiasm, the way he plays, the way they got the lads playing, and the camaraderie they've got, and now they work for each other on the pitch and off the pitch. It says it all. And I've been in teams who've done exactly like that. The Charlie Early, Montgomery Irwin, Ashurst, Harvey Early, Matt Knapp, best team I've played in. And you got your cup final team, but they were a team. They all gelled together and bonded together. And, if there was a scrap off the pitch, everybody be involved. Scrap on the pitch, you're involved. So you always looked after each other.
There's a massive difference, though, isn't there, between the club that was last in the Premier League and the one that we're in now. I know you just talked a little bit about it there.
Yeah.
But we're here today looking around at all the changes going on around the place. People are going to get a shock, I think, when they come to Sunderland and see the difference.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have a little look around myself now. I haven't seen anything at all apart from the murals that's been put up around the ground, which is brilliant. Again, the former players, being brought back with Charlie and Paulie and people like that. So I'm going to have a good look around myself. Dan's going to take me around and see what they ought to. I've already seen the press room getting looked after.
Good.
But
then I'll be happy.
Oh, no, he won't. No, he won't. Ben will never be happy.
Jimmy, you mentioned being part of successful dressing rooms in the past, promotions, an FA Cup win, obviously. After that success, what's going through your head? Is it like the hard work starts now?
Yeah, definitely the hard work starts now. I mean, we've got the new players who coming in, they've got to gel with the lads, they've got to gel with the team, they've got to gel with whatever system the manager's going to want on a Saturday. And I'm sure, and I've been down, I haven't seen him this year, obviously, but 2 or 3 times I've been down last year to watch some training. And there's such a togetherness from all players, staff, management. It doesn't just stop as managing team, the players. There's no fractions, there's no little cliques, that's all gone. They've gotten rid of all that. And I think I'm very, very optimistic indeed about the new season. I really am.
Good, lovely.
Well, we're joined by Rob Mason, who's with us here, and he's been involved with the festivities this afternoon, as Jimmy Montgomery was shown and surprised. Actually, wasn't expecting it. I'm just looking up at it, the sign above the now newly named Jimmy Montgomery Stand. And Rob, it's a long time coming, isn't it? I've got to say, I think it's been something I've wanted to see for a lot of time in this club, that we actually properly commemorate the legends. And what a better way to do it than by giving Jimmy this honour while he's still with us, because he's just said himself, a lot of the time when these things happen, people have passed on, and it's nice for him to be able to see this.
Well, if you're going to name a stand after somebody, why not name it after your number one?
Yeah.
And Jimmy's always been the number one, both on the number on his back on the pitch and number one in terms of his stature within the club based on his appearances. Record appearance holder, and his 627 appearances. I think lots of people know he made 627 appearances, but I always like to point out that's 169 appearances more than anybody else. And also, Jimmy, ridiculously, his last game came just before his 33rd birthday. Now, as you know, 33 is no age at all for a goalkeeper. If Jimmy hadn't been moved on because we signed Barry Siddle and Jimmy was still playing very, very well, the mind boggles as to what Jimmy's total would have been. But it's 627, way out in front of anybody else in the club's entire history in terms of appearances. And then you think of his worldwide fame which comes from the save at Wembley. Now, those of us old enough to have seen Jimmy play know that was not anything unusual for Jimmy. It just came in the most important game Sunderland have played since the Second World War. And it was beamed around the world in the days when, football on TV was only really the FA Cup final, the European Cup final, and the England v Scotland annual home international match. But Jimmy made saves like that week in, week out. And indeed, we wouldn't have had a cup run in 1973 if it hadn't been for an equally good save Jimmy made in the last few minutes of the third round tie away to Notts County, which finished 1-1. We brought Notts County back up here and beat them in the replay. But, I grew up standing behind the goal in the Roker end, watching Monty. Monty has always been my favourite player at Sunderland, always will be, by a country mile my favourite player. And that is because there was game after game after game I used to watch as a boy when Sunderland were getting absolutely played off the park week in, week out. And they weren't getting beat, or if they were getting beat, they were getting beat 1-0 or 2-1 or something. Because Monty's brilliance in terms of the agility of his saves, the spectacular nature of his saves, just made him absolutely unbelievable. Still the best goalkeeper I've seen. I still think it's a crime against the football that Jimmy Montgomery never got a full cap. The nearest he got was he sat on the bench for England in a game against France in 1969, which England won 5-0, and the goalkeeper, who was Gordon Banks, didn't really have to do anything to get a clean sheet. Monty should have played. Yeah. He did play for the under-23s. He did, but he should have had caps. And he should have gone to the 70 World Cup. He was in the 40-man squad for the 70 World Cup that was then cut down. And, those that know the football history, yourself included, will know that when England, as the reigning world champions, were knocked out by West Germany, Gordon Banks was injured, wasn't playing. And they brought Peter Bonetti in. Now, Peter Bonetti played for Chelsea, London club. Chelsea had won the FA Cup that year. Peter Bonetti was in the squad and played. And I'm not saying anything against Peter Bonetti. Peter Bonetti was a great goalkeeper. But in my opinion, he wasn't as good as Monty. And if Monty had played, England wouldn't have got beaten that game.
Yeah, he played in an era where didn't always wear gloves too, And
no, absolutely.
So the skill to be a goalkeeper was completely different to what it is today.
Totally different. Talking to Jimmy as I have over the years, one of Jimmy's heroes was a goalkeeper called Johnny Bollins. Now, Johnny Bollins was largely a reserve goalkeeper, and Monty used to watch him play for the reserves. Though Johnny Bollins did play for the first team on a lot of occasions. But Jimmy's told me many times in the past, he would stand behind the goal watching Johnny Bollins, who was a very spectacular goalkeeper, and he wanted to model himself to some extent on him. And Jimmy's coming up to 82 now. On his 70th birthday, we organised a big This Is Your Life evening for Jimmy Montgomery at the stadium. And sadly, Johnny Bollins is no longer with us, but he was then. And I got Johnny Bollins, who lived down Teesside Way, I got Johnny Bollins to come up to the dinner. And Monty was, delighted to see him. And I've got a couple of great photographs. One of Johnny Bollins in the classic pose, where he's diving full length, as you say, no gloves, and he's catching the ball as he dives full length. And I've got a pretty much identical picture of Monty doing the same thing. And I always think of that when I think about Monty and his history. I cannot stress too much what a great goalkeeper Jimmy Montgomery was. But I always add that as well as being a great goalkeeper, he's a great fella. Anybody who's met Jimmy Montgomery, and I think everybody in Sunderland must have met Monty over the years, Monty always has time for everybody. He's a complete and absolute gentleman. And there could be no more fitting person for this stand to be named after than Jimmy Montgomery. Legend is a word that's far too easily overused in football, but Monty is, a complete legend at Sunderland and will remain to be so. And the fact that we've now named this stand after him will mean that in decades and decades and decades' time, when young kids start to come to the first match and say to their mum or their dad, who was Jimmy Montgomery, people can tell the story there because, this really captures him for posterity in the history of the football club, as it should. As I said at the beginning, he's our number one.
Just to go back to the Coventry game when he first discovered that this was going to happen. Yeah. I mean, you'll have been here for that game, Rob. The atmosphere was, couldn't have been a more perfect setting for that announcement. And I mean, you can't really think of too many other players in the club's history who would have got such a reception,
Well, look, we have had other great players, make no bones about it. We have had other great players in the club's history, Charlie Hurley, Len Shackleton, Rach Carter, Johnny Campbell, Charlie Booker and Ted Doig, need I go on. But the fact that we did announce that naming of the stand shortly before kick-off at the Coventry playoff game was all part of what was one of the most fabulous nights in the club's history. From the very beginning, as the team arrived and the fans went that extra distance to make sure that the fans put on a real display for the team coming in. Not that anybody needed psyching up, but by gum did it extra psych up everybody, if I can put it that way. And then the Guard of Honour on the pitch, I was very privileged to be part of that Guard of Honour. I think I was the only person in it that hadn't played for Sunderland, but nonetheless, I'm stood next to Jordan Pickford, who was there for the game, for instance, talking about, great goalkeepers in Sunderland's history. And the fact there were so many former players that were there to honour Jimmy, partly organised by the Former Players Association, really, I think, brought a tear to Jimmy's eye when he saw how many of his peers really had that great respect for him. And then in the way that the game went, and we all know about what happened in the game and the climax of the game, and that Dan Ballard moment at the end will never, ever be forgotten. Doubly so when you think it was against Coventry, who have had this absolutely appalling record against in recent years. What a way to put that to bed. Finally beat them over the two legs in the most important game that the clubs have ever played. Bearing in mind the 1977 issue, the clubs weren't playing each other that particular night. Coventry were playing Bristol City, we were playing Everton. But that Coventry game, with Jimmy Stand being named, the till the end campaign, the climax of the game, and then what happened afterward, because it would have counted for nothing if we'd lost at Wembley. But then to go to Wembley and win again in the most dramatic circumstances, all just made it absolutely comic book stuff.
I imagine as well, just to move on a little bit, you're like me and you're seeing these new signings for the new season, Rob, and you're just excited. I'm so excited about this new season coming up. I mean, last season was perfect. You've just said the way it ended. But now it just feels like the chapter's been turned and we're moving on and we're bringing in some fantastic signings, and you can't help but just feel so excited about what's coming.
Absolutely. Everybody is completely excited. It's great. We as you know, we're ending our longest ever period outside the top flight, 8 years. And 4 of those years was spent appallingly in League One. Sunderland should never be anywhere but the top level, but to be in League One was just outrageous. And to be there for 4 years was doubly outrageous. We all know how nobody was looking forward to coming to the match those days. I was living in Scotland. I never missed a game, but I was driving down from Scotland, coming to the match because I always came to the match. I wasn't particularly looking forward to it because I knew week in, week out, most teams were only going to come and try and kill the game and spoil the game with every trick in the book, and then some tricks I'd never seen before. Thank goodness that's gone now. But when you think about the standard of football in League One, where we were not too many years ago, and now every day you look at the internet or you look at your newspapers and you see, and Sunderland have beaten AC Milan and Juventus to the signing of this player. Sunderland in competition with Manchester United for that player. Sunderland have beaten so-and-so at the signing of this player. And I've lost count now of how many times we've broken our transfer record since the final whistle sounded at Wembley. And who knows, we might break it again. So the calibre of footballers that we've brought in is absolutely superb. Everybody's eagerly waiting to see how well we do in the first game of the season against West Ham. All the pre-season preparation is obviously the build-up to trying to beat West Ham. If we can beat West Ham on the first day of the season, which is going to be easier said than done, there's a gigantic gap between the Championship and the Premier League. Everybody knows that. The club know that, which is why they're investing as they are in the squad. But if we can beat West Ham in that first game to get us off to a great start, then the feeling that we are riding on the crest of a wave at the moment will not only continue, just the crest that we're on will be that little bit higher again if we can get 3 points on the board. So, yes, I'm dead excited about the season, but what I'm really interested in is, come the final whistle against West Ham, I just want to see that we've scored more goals than West Ham and that we can get off to the flying start that I desperately hope we can do.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Cheers.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.